DeborahELipstadt, Anti-Semitism, Here and Now. In her insightful book Anti-Semitism, Here and Now, DeborahELipstadt examines the rise of dangerous anti-Semitism in today's increasingly intolerant global society. Structuring her report as a series of letters based on queries Lipstadt received from a non-Jewish colleague and a Jewish student, she sheds light on the resilience of anti-Semitism, as well as its many manifestations and cultural implications. Through fictional correspondence and real-life experiences, Lipstadt explores how the normalization of hatred across various groups erodes multicultural, democratic, and inclusive societies. By reading this summary, you'll delve into the reasons behind the persistence of anti-Semitism, its historical and modern expressions, and the urgent need to counteract this ongoing conspiracy theory.
Rise of Anti-Semitism. Lipstadt's report highlights the dangerous surge of anti-Semitism in today's world, with a focus on Europe. She employs a letter format to engage with two students regarding this phenomenon. Lipstadt argues that allowing false conspiracies, like Holocaust denial, to spread unchallenged only fuels more hatred and intolerance. The Impact of Antisemitism. Lipstadt presents a thought-provoking book centered on the discussion around the development of anti-Semitism and its impact on society as seen through the letters exchanged by two characters, Abigail, a Jewish college student, and Joe, a Christian college professor. Lipstadt's expertise as a Jewish woman, a scholar, and a professor is channeled through her alter ego, Professor Del, in responding to these thought-provoking letters. The book highlights how expressions of contempt for one group can lead to hatred being directed towards different groups, and emphasizes how anti-Semitism poses a threat to multicultural and democratic societies. The absurdity and danger of anti-Semitism. Abigail and Joe contemplate the persistence of anti-Semitism. Joe points out the normalization of homophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia in the U.S. The nature of anti-Semitism as an absurd and potentially dangerous conspiracy theory makes it challenging to combat. Provable counterfactuals only reinforce the beliefs of conspiracy theorists, making it impossible to disprove illogical assertions. Despite this, we must insist that anti-Semitism is pointless and will never make sense. The Roots of Antisemitism. Professor Del's account of her 1972 visit to Russia exposes the powerful lies surrounding the communist government's blaming of Soviet Jews for food and shoe shortages. The government promoted anti-Semitism and persecution of Jews, further fueled by a belief in a Jewish conspiracy. The book highlights the continuing existence of this age-old hatred, with post-9/11 events serving as another example of unfounded accusations against Jews. Instead of focusing on differences, this thought-provoking book emphasizes the importance of unity and recognizing humanity's shared values to overcome bigotry. The danger of polite bigotry. Bigotry wrapped in politeness can lead to discrimination and hate. Anti-Semitism is often hidden in discussions related to the Israeli government and Palestinians in academic circles. While many have sincere policy disagreements with Israeli leadership, some use those criticisms to mask anti-Semitic views. The danger is apparent in how they criticize Israel while ignoring similar policies and actions in other countries. It's important to recognize the danger of polite bigotry and call it out for what it is. Blaming Jews. For thousands of years, Jews have faced blame and accusations for society's issues, including the death of Jesus, economic downturns, political tensions, and military failures. These accusations have been debunked, but still continue to exist. From the bubonic plague in the 14th century to Nazis in Germany, and the eugenic theories of genetic inferiority, Jews have had to face widespread anti-Semitism. Despite being insupportable, these accusations still appeal to hate-filled bigots. Anti-Semitism in modern Europe. Jews in modern Europe face rising attacks and discrimination from far-right nationalists and neo-Nazis. Anti-Semitism is not just limited to extreme ideologies, as many fail to recognize more subtle forms of hatred. In some places, Jews feel uncomfortable displaying their faith and have resorted to wearing baseball caps instead of the traditional skullcap. The nationalist movements in France, Hungary, and Poland deny or downplay their country's role in the Holocaust. This alarming trend has caused some Jews to flee Europe for Israel or North America. Trump and the normalization of anti-Semitism. Joe's experience of depression after watching neo-Nazis march in Charlottesville in 2017 highlights how deeply ingrained anti-Semitism still is in American society. During his presidential campaign, Trump aimed to play to the caricatures of Jewish businessmen. The normalization of anti-Semitism was reflected in his speeches, and he also amplified the voices of white supremacists on social media. Trump called those who chanted anti-Semitic slogans in Charlottesville, good people. The situation worsened when white nationalists started emphasizing the Jewish identity of journalists and commentators. This led to a spike in anti-Semitic vitriol, with many journalists receiving death threats. Despite this, leaders of some nations, including Trump, expressed various anti-Semitic ideas. However, they supported Israel. The situation escalated as anti-Semitism became illustrated in movements like the BDS boycott. Finally, synagogues, Jewish museums, and community centers have added extra security to deal with the rising spike in anti-Semitism and racism. The undeniable truth of the Holocaust. Despite denial, the Holocaust is one of the most extensively documented genocides in history. Survivors, confessions of Nazi soldiers, and meticulous German records serve as testaments to the mass murders. The fact that the German government has erected memorials and pays reparations instead of disputing the false narrative proves the authenticity of the Holocaust. Understanding Antisemitism. Professor DeborahELipstadt's book provides an insightful analysis of antisemitism, racism, and suppression of religious freedom. The use of correspondence-based narrative device gives a personal tone to the book, making it engaging to read. Covering a broad scope of history, Lipstadt successfully achieves her purpose without resorting to polemic speechmaking. The book can be an excellent guide for students and adults alike, thanks to the research and heartfelt conviction of the author. Lipstadt's latest book adds to her distinguished record of historical research, including Denial, Holocaust History on Trial and the Eichmann Trial.
DeborahELipstadt's Anti-Semitism, Here and Now, takes readers on a journey through the historical and contemporary struggles with anti-Semitism, urging them to recognize its dangers in the current political climate. She demonstrates that the persistence of anti-Semitism, fueled by insupportable contradictions and unfounded ideas, has an alarming impact on democratic societies. With anti-Semitic tendencies continually reasserting themselves in various domains, from academic criticism to conspiracy theories and denialism, now is the time to challenge and dismantle these harmful beliefs. By understanding the scope and history of anti-Semitism, readers can be better informed to recognize it and take steps to help create more inclusive and tolerant societies.